What's going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, Spartans of all ages, Joker back again once again, and one of the things that has always irritated me as a Halo book fan, since 343 took over stewardship of the franchise, is how one of their goals is to flesh out John 117, the Master Chief's humanity. I mean, what does that even mean? As that's going to have a different definition for everybody. And as we see the Halo franchise continue on under 343's stewardship, they seem dead set on having these uber super duper humany super relatable characters, which is sort of an odd goal in a series that has given us Cortana, Buck, Johnson, Miranda, Captain Keyes, the Arbiter, Halfjaw, the list goes on and on and on. Halo actually has a lot of really great characters. But then we see their version of the most normal human who has ever done human things and ever is a human being who is human. And it goes from...
Down. Triggering survival mode. I'm going to try to overwrite. Okay. If you can hear me in there, I hope you're ready. Please don't die. Please. Yes! Yes! We're going home!
Which is charming and cute to...
No! No! You! I can't stand it! Who you are?
Breathe.
No! You don't get to tell me what to do. You don't get to tell me anything. We're... Are you even listening?
I count 3 anti-aircraft cannons.
3 what?
You'll be safe here.
Oh, I'll be safe. Safe? I haven't been safe since I found you. I found you, remember? You were out there on your own, and you'd still be out there if it wasn't for me. I thought I was going home.
There won't be a home if we don't stop the Banished.
You keep saying that. We're outgunned, outnumbered.
While realistic and even understandable given the character's position, if done too often, it can become grating to the point of, to butcher a joke, shut up and get in the Pelican, Shinji. Now, this isn't some video to complain about 343. There's tons of those on the internet. If anything, this is to remind them of what genuine, air quote, moments of humanity look like for somebody like Master Chief. Somebody who was abducted as a child, put through rigorous military training that would break most adults, and turned into a weapon. One that has been in use for decades, with very little rest. That's why our section today takes us to the moments just before the Spartan augmentation process, and the heartbreaking reality of its cost. The Spartans are our only option to avoid overwhelming civilian losses. They will be the perfect pinpoint strike force. They can prevent a civil war, Deja replied. Only if they survive to fulfill that mission, Dr. Halsey countered. We should delay the procedure. More research needs to be done. We could use the time to work on Mjolnir. We need time to... There is another reason to proceed expeditiously, Deja said. Although I'm loath to bring this to your attention, I must. If the Office of Naval Intelligence detects a delay in their prize project, you will likely be replaced by somebody who harbors fewer doubts. And regrettably for the children, most likely someone less qualified. I hate this. Dr. Halsey stood up and strode towards the fire exit. And sometimes, Deja, I hate you too. She left the observation room. Mendez was waiting for her in the hallway. Walk with me, Chief, she said. He followed without a word as they took the stairs to the pre-op wing of the hospital. They entered room 117. John lay in the bed, and an IV drip was attached to his arm. His head had been shaven, and incision vectors had been lasered onto his entire body. Despite these indignities, Dr. Halsey marveled at what a spectacular physical specimen he'd grown into. 14 years old, and he had the body of an 18-year-old Olympic athlete, and a mind the equivalent to any Naval Academy honors graduate. Dr. Halsey forced the best smile she could muster. How are you feeling? I'm fine, ma'am, John said groggily. The nurse said the sedation would take effect soon. I'm fighting to see how long I can stay awake. His eyelids fluttered. It's not easy. John spotted Mendez, and he struggled to sit up and salute, but failed. I know this is one of Chief's exercises, but I don't know what the twist is. Can you tell me, Dr. Halsey? Just this time? How do I win? Mendez looked away. Dr. Halsey leaned closer to John as he closed his eyes and started to breathe deeply. I'll tell you how to win, John, she whispered. You have to survive. If you've ever wondered why a lot of Halo book fans have, what's the most diplomatic way to put this, an utter disdain for Karen Travis's Kilo 5 trilogy, it starts here. Mind you, this isn't the totality of it, there's a lot wrong with those books, but the character assassination of Dr. Halsey is paramount among the issues with them. Tangent aside, if you thought that was emotional, prepare for utter heartbreak. See, there was a reason Dr. Halsey wanted to wait when it came to the augmentations of the Spartan 2s. Unlike with the Spartan 3s or the Spartan 4s, where the augmentation process had virtually been perfected, to the point that there's no casualties, the Spartan 2 augmentation process was extremely volatile. Most of the children would die or be crippled. 0 hours, March 30th, 2525, military calendar, UNSC carrier, Atlas, en route to the Lambda Serpatis system. And so we commit the bodies of our fallen brothers to space. Mendez solemnly closed his eyes for a moment. The ceremony completed. He pressed a control, and the ash canisters moved slowly to the ejection tubes, and the void beyond. John stood rigidly at attention. The carrier's missile launch bays, normally cramped, overcrowded, and bustling with activity, were unusually quiet. The Atlas's firing deck had been cleared of munitions and crew. Long, unadorned black banners now hung from the bay's overhead gantries. Honors, 10 Hut, Mendez barked. John and the other surviving Spartans saluted in unison. Duty, Mendez said, honor and self-sacrifice. Death does not diminish these qualities in a soldier. We shall remember. A series of trumpets resounded through the Atlas's hull as the containers were hurled into space. The view screen flickered and displayed a field of stars. The canisters appeared one by one, quickly falling behind the carrier as it continued on its course. John watched. With each of the stainless steel canisters that drifted by, he felt that he was losing a part of himself. It felt like leaving people behind. Mendez's face might have been chiseled from stone for all the emotion it showed. He finished his protracted salute and then said, "Crewmen, dismissed." Not everything had been lost. John glanced around the launch chamber. Sam, Kelly, and 30 others stood at attention in their black dress uniforms. They had made it unharmed through the last... mission wasn't quite the right word, more or less. There were a dozen others, though, who had lived, but were no longer soldiers. It hurt John to look at them. Fahid sat in a wheelchair, shaking uncontrollably. Kirk and Renee were in neutral buoyancy gel tanks, breathing through respirators. Their bones had been so twisted, they no longer looked human. There were others, still alive, but with injuries so critical they could not be moved. Orderlies pushed Fahid and the other injured towards the elevator. John strode towards them and stopped, blocking their path. "Stand fast, crewmen," he demanded. "Where are you taking my men?" The orderly halted. His eyes widened. He swallowed and said, Sir, I have my orders." "Squad leader," Mendez called out. "A moment." "Stay," John told the orderly, and marched to face Chief Mendez. "Yes, sir?" "Let them go," Mendez said quietly. "They can't fight anymore. They don't belong here." John inadvertently glanced at the view screen and the long line of canisters as they shrank into the distance. "What will happen to my men?" "The Navy takes care of its own," Mendez replied, and lifted his chin a little higher. "They may no longer be the fastest or the strongest soldiers, but they have sharp minds. They can still plan missions, analyze data, troubleshoot ops." John exhaled a sigh of relief. "That's all any of us can ask for, sir. A chance to serve." He turned to face Fahid and the others. He snapped to attention and saluted. Fahid managed to raise one shaky arm and return the salute. The orderlies wheeled them away. John looked at what remained of his squad. None of them had moved since the memorial service. They were waiting for their next mission. "Our orders, sir?" John asked. 2 days full bed rest, squad leader. Then, microgravity physical therapy aboard the Atlas. until you recover from the side effects of your augmentation. Side effects. John flexed his hand. He was clumsy now. Sometimes he could barely walk without falling. Dr. Halsey had assured him that these side effects were a good sign. Your brain must relearn how to move your body with faster reflexes and stronger muscles, she told him. But his eyes hurt. They bled a little in the mornings, too. He had constant headaches. Every bone in his body ached. John didn't understand any of this. He only knew that he had a duty to perform, and now he feared he wouldn't be able to. Is that all, sir? He asked Mendez. No, the chief replied. Deja will be running your squad through the dropship pilot simulator as soon as they're up to it. And he added, if they're up for the challenge, she wanted to cover some more organic chemistry and complex algebra. Yes, sir, John replied. We're up to the challenge. Good. John continued to stand fast. Was there something else, squad leader? John furrowed his brow, hesitated, and then finally said, I was squad leader. The last mission was therefore my responsibility, and members of my squad died. What did I do wrong? Mendez stared at John with his impenetrable black eyes. He glanced at the squad, then back to John. Walk with me. He led John to the view screen. He stood and watched as the last of the canisters vanished into the darkness. A leader must be ready to send the soldiers under his command to their deaths, Mendez said without turning to face John. You do this because your duty to the UNSC surpasses your duty to yourself or even your crew. John looked away from the view screen. He couldn't look at the emptiness anymore. He didn't want to think about his teammates, friends who were like brothers and sisters to him, lost forever. It is acceptable, Mendez said, to spend their lives if necessary. He finally turned to meet John's gaze. It is not acceptable, however, to waste those lives. Do you understand the difference? I believe I understand, sir, John said. But which was it on this last mission? Lives spent or lives wasted? Mendez turned back towards the blackness of space and didn't answer. And there we have it, ladies and gents, boys and girls, Spartans of all ages, quite possibly one of the most emotional moments in all of Halo lore. I really don't have much of a follow-up to that, and I feel like anything that I would say would be woefully inadequate. So let me know what you think of this kind of content in the comments below. Like this video if you did, subscribe for more. Feel free to donate to my Patreon if you're feeling particularly generous. But above all else, stay frosty.